Cast your mind back to several weeks ago where I did a video explaining that I didn't think the lottery card found in the Fallout Secret Lair was a big deal. For those of you who missed the minor controversy of people bitching on the internet, the Fallout Secret Lairs, which come with all sorts of Fallout themed cards with Fallout art and Fallout flavor, they have a 1 in 3, well, okay, I'll rephrase that. It's not a 1 in 3 chance. There is 1 of 3 different randomized cards that come in those lairs. A Wastes, a Codex Shredder, and most importantly, the one that everyone wants, a Manav Vault. An incredible pairing of the card Manav Vault with the Vault Boy art and everything. It's a good pick to be a Fallout tie-in. On top of that, it's a Chase Sweaty Sweat card for people who want to play very, very strong commander decks, or perhaps Vintage Cube. But let's be honest, it's for commander decks. In that video, I refer to Manav Vault as basically a $50 card. If the one from Ultimate Masters, the one from Double Masters, I think it was, the one from, well, the original Manav Vault, they're all around $50. Then, earlier last week, I tweeted out this tweet. This seems a tad ambitious, and it's a listing of a Fallout Manav Vault for £1,447.70. The thing is, it turns out it's not as ambitious as I first thought. I thought it was wildly over what these would sell for, and that it's sold at that point. This morning, I had a look, and well, it's not quite £1,400, but it's still a good chunk of change. The sold listings on eBay right now have sold for £860, £799, £865, £914, and then there's all like 40 quid worth of postage stuck on them if you're buying from the States. These are all selling in the US. There's actually no European listing currently on eBay that has sold for a Manav Vault, which I think is super interesting. I'm actually astounded that this thing is selling for £800, considering, for example, I haven't even received my Secret Lair yet. I think I'm just one of the people who've been delayed. I don't have my copy to open. So full transparency, I bought the Stacks one. And as of last week when I checked my PO box, I hadn't received it. I'm hoping when I go today or tomorrow, I would have received it and I'll probably film myself opening it in case I randomly pop a Manav Vault. This is not a setup for that. I honestly have not opened it yet. If I open one, I'll probably sell it. Well, will I? Okay, that's the next point. Is it worth £800? The most expensive Manav Vault, barring the Fallout one that we're discussing today, is this one. This is the Masterpiece Invention Manav Vault that was openable as a lottery chase card in the original Kaladesh packs. In many ways, the Manav Vault frame was considered a reserve list of sorts, a new thing that would never really get a reprint, because it doesn't seem to make sense that they'd ever reprint the lottery chase stuff. That said, they did return to the Well of Expeditions before with 2 different iterations of Expeditions, not the exact same arts, dissimilar, but they did use the frame again, and the Invention frame got reused for random shit in March of the Machines. Look, the reason I laugh about this and point to this is that I do believe that frames and art treatment should be the new version of the reserve list. I think cards having a not to be ever reprinted again is a good thing in terms of collectability, but not in terms of gameplay, and thus I don't think you should ever reserve list or promise not to reprint something that's a game piece. And thus, I think certain frames, art treatments and stuff like that, and just arts in general, could be the way that you make things collectible in the future by guaranteeing that you'll never ever reprint this frame and this art ever again. But that's where the interesting part comes in with some conjecture about contracts here. I think that Wizards tomorrow could, if they wanted to, reprint the Kaladesh Invention Manav Vault. I think they have the option to. As long as they have the file somewhere at Wizards, they could do that. However, reprinting the Fallout one is probably not actually doable without renegotiating contracts with Bethesda or ZeniMax. At present time, we have a situation where there's a load of stuff that can't be put onto Magic the Gathering Online because of contracts. At present time, we have a situation where they can't reprint certain things or sell individual cards even, or put them in treasure chests on Modo because of the contracts around Warhammer or Fallout or Doctor Who. The first flurry, the first volley of Universes Beyond stuff, I believe they may have messed up the contract a little bit. Just not with enough foresight, hindsight, what's the word I'm looking for? Enough, I don't know, of an understanding of how Magic will work in the long term. I don't think the people making the contracts for the Universes Beyond IP stuff really understood how Magic has worked and will continue to work in terms of reprints and the need for accessibility to the game pieces and similar. So that for that reason, we have a situation now where they can't put the Warhammer cards in anything but the original Warhammer decks themselves, even digitally. Hell, there's a little bit of a kerfuffle around whether they could even allow them in the all-access accounts they're allowing creators to have to play on Magic the Gathering Online right now. Not to mention, none of this stuff makes it to Arena either. So that brings me to the point that I'm getting to. I think the Fallout Manav Vault might be more reserve list than the Kaladesh Invention Manav Vault. I think there's a borderline 0% chance we ever see something like this get reprinted again. Meaning, It's a pretty hot collector's item. But is this worth twice the amount of the original Kaladesh one? I mean, I think the Kaladesh one is prettier from just a, I don't know, from a game piece and fitting in with magic. I also do have a soft spot for this Manav Vault because I like Fallout so much, but £800 does seem like a lot. But a playable commander staple that was not put in a booster product, it was like randomly inserted at probably quite a low rate into a product that is no longer available, and it's using art assets and IP integrations or references or whatever the term you want to use for a thing that they probably can never access again. This is a hot collector item. So once I'd really thought about this, I'm not surprised. I was surprised at first. I was shocked at first that it hit this price tag. I'm now no longer shocked. Honestly, I think it makes sense. And I hate to say it, but I think we'll see more of this moving forward in terms of how the collectors, the players, and the entire market, to use a term that makes me want to vomit up my own spleen, but how they react to the Universes Beyond IP crossover secret lairs and such when we get things like soul rings, crypts, and vaults, you know, popular hot items that are exclusively using an art from that IP they can never go back to. And Wizards are probably more than aware of this, right? Look at the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, look at the Mana Vault from Fallout. We're probably going to see more of this going forward. And let me just start thinking about, like, what could they do next? What could be a really desirable reprint into another IP, like Aristic Studies or Smothering Ties with Final Fantasy or Resident Evil art or whatever. I guess the world is their proverbial oyster. I'm excited to see what they do with it, but I'm also not excited to see how far they push it. There's already problematic elements with the fact that Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast is always engaged in some element of gambling. They never want to use that word, but opening randomized packs and getting randomized things for your purchase, there is an element of literal little g gambling there. I don't think it's inherently a bad thing, so I don't inherently think gambling is wrong, but culturally, different cultures, different places have different perceptions of gambling. Perhaps the UK and England are less stomping down on than the US, for example. A lot of my US viewers seem to see gambling as a much worse thing. Either way, I thought it was interesting. I was actually expecting to check it today and see them sell for like 200 max. That was going to be my guess, 300 maybe. To see them selling at 800 and 700? I mean, I wonder if this is people buying into the FOMO and the hype too early, and we're going to see a load more of these hit the market and be floating around a bit more commonly than people thought. Maybe all these first purchases were just way too quick. Like, what is this? The 28th, 27th, and 29th? The earliest purchase of a Mana Vault, as I can see on eBay right now, was on the 25th. So only 4 days ago. I do think the price will come down, but I don't see it halving, that's for sure. So this is going to be an expensive collector's item forevermore. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If I missed the mark on that, do you think it's truly just hype and people are fucking idiots? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.